Hey, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be taking a look at a couple more binders. First up is Revised. So this is an entire set of Revised. I'm not going to be able to go through every single key card in this set because this is a big set. This binder is filled with Revised, and there's just a ton of super noteworthy cards. But just from an artwork perspective, I absolutely love this set. This is basically the first, kind of the first reprint set, because we had Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, and then in that time period, Arabian Nights came out, and some of the Arabian Nights cards got reprinted into Revised. So this is basically out, like, you know, all the power is taken out of Alpha, Beta, and Unlimited, and some Arabian Nights cards were kind of added in. And I'll try to call those out as I see them. So Armageddon was a huge card, one of the OG board wipes for lands. There was also Wrath of God, which is later in this set. Animate Dead, incredible card. Animate Artifact. This artwork for Air Elemental is incredible. The artwork for Aladdin's Lamp. This is like one of the first cards I ever saw that had a huge casting cost. It's 10 colorless to cast. So yeah, really cool stuff there. Got a couple of dual lands here. Badlands and Bayou. Assault Monolith was infinite mana combos. Birds of Paradise, still to this day, very playable. Balance was incredible, but I think they banned it in most formats, or they restricted it, and then it was banned finally. Bad Moon, incredible card. Black Vice, Black Knight, Blessing. I mean, it's just like any card you look at pretty much here was pretty epic back in the day. Brain Geyser, incredible card draw. This is a Arabian Nights card. I'm probably gonna miss a few of them, so forgive me if I don't see them all. But Brassman, another one. Channel, everybody knows the infamous Channel Fireball combo with Black Lotus, where you could turn one, kill somebody. Control Magic, incredible. Clone, such a good card. The Laces, everybody hated pulling these, and now especially when if you buy like a beta or an alpha, beta, or unlimited starter deck, and you pull this as one of your rares, that's a huge bummer. Copy Artifact, incredible. Always loved this artwork, thought it was super cool. Dark Ritual, probably like one of the best values for mana in the game. Demonic Tutor, Demonic Hordes. What's kind of cool about this is there is basically for each color in Alpha, Beta, and Unlimited, there were cards that basically had like 3 associated to it. So for black, it was Dark Ritual. For white, it was Healing Salve, which healed 3 life. For red, it was Lightning Bolt, which did 3 damage. And what am I forgetting? Green was Giant Growth, which is +3/+3. And then blue got Ancestral Recall, and it was definitely, 3 cards for 1 mana was definitely better than 3 mana for 1 mana or 3 damage for 1 mana. It definitely was a major power jump from the other colors. So I always thought that was kind of funny. Drain Power, incredible. Drudge Skeleton's one of the most iconic artworks from this set. This is from Arabian Nights. This is from Arabian Nights. I think that's it on this page. Fireball, Fire Breathing, Flying Carpets, Arabian Nights. Fork is one of my favorite cards in the game. I have an insane number of copies of this card. I have them in beta, I've got them in alpha, I've got them in unlimited, revised. Just a whole bunch of copies of this card because I just love it so much. When I was growing up, it was just, to be able to duplicate any spell for 2 mana was just so powerful. Same thing with Berserk. Like it was another card that was just like the doubling effect for such a low mana cost was just so powerful. Always love this Frozen Shade artwork as well. I apologize in advance. This is probably gonna be a long video. I'm like barely through this set and it's already 4 minutes in. But we're having fun. Let's see how long this goes. Glasses of Urza, you can look at your opponent's hand. Never knew like why that wasn't a more valuable card, especially like in tournament play, because you could make huge decisions based upon if you're playing against a blue player, but maybe this was something that was banned in tournaments. I don't know. There's the Healing Salve that I was talking about. So yeah, 1 mana heals 3 life. Yeah, Ancestral Recall definitely wins that competition. Howling Mine, what an incredible card. This was an iconic artwork. This is like one of the best cards in the game as well. A 2/2 flyer that basically made people discard if the damage got through. And with Dark Ritual, you can get that out first turn and just start kind of getting turn advantage by making people discard cards. This is an Arabian Nights card. This, I want to say, is actually Antiquities. So it's not just Arabian Nights. There was some Antiquities stuff. Yeah, there is, because Hercules Recall is Antiquities as well. So there's some Antiquities cards peppered into Revised as well. I believe this was Arabian Nights too. Kurt Ape, amazing. That's also Arabian Nights. Lord of Atlantis, incredible. Land of War Elves, one of the best early ramp cards ever printed. Keldon Warlord was a really cool card. Lord of the Pit, super iconic. Mana Short, Mana Vault. You know, it's funny, I remember getting this card and like loving the artwork so much because I always gravitated to all the Mark Teton stuff. And it wasn't really worth a lot. It was like $3-4. And now it's like such a expensive card. So it's kind of cool that it's kind of finally reached the status that it deserved for having this amazing artwork on it. Mahamadi Dejin, incredible. Mind Twist, amazing. I'll try to speed it up here. Nightmare was one of my absolute favorites. I loved all the Melissa Benson artworks. This guy too, Quentin Hoover, he just did the best stuff. Another Mark Teton here. Ron Spencer was another one. Anson Maddox. Who was the other? Drew Tucker. That's the guy that, yeah, this is Drew Tucker's art. I really like his stuff a lot. Got a Plateau here. One of the Laces. The Rack. Incredible. The Rack and Black Vice were both amazing. Regeneration. This is Quentin Hoover art, and I absolutely love that artwork. Rock Hydra, amazing. Got a couple more dual lands here. Sacrifice. This was like one of the cards that when you opened it in a pack, you're like, wow, Magic's definitely not. It's definitely not PG or G rated. Sedge Trolls, incredible. Sanger Vampire. This one was kind of cool. It was like a misprint in every single version. There's a blue mana symbol. I'll pull it out because you probably can't see it but there's a blue mana symbol on a green card. Every single version of it is this was a Arabian Nights card that the wrong artwork was distributed to all the revised copies. Royal Assassin remains to be one of my favorite cards in the game. Not terribly powerful by today's standards, but it was so powerful back in the day. Shaban Dragon, one of my absolute favorites. Soul Ring has always been undervalued and I guess overprinted now, but there was a time period where I was like, this card's got to be valuable someday because the value to it, the value to mana is just insane. But just crazy that it had kind of the journey that it had. This is the coolest page as far as like, you know, current values because we got Tundra, Underground Sea, Tropical Island, and Taiga. All in one binder page, which is pretty cool. Unholy Strength. They actually took the pentagram out on the 4th edition. Vezivan Doppelganger, my favorite art in all of Magic. Second only to the Juzam Jin here from Arabian Nights. But man, I love this artwork so much. Just always spoke to me as a kid. Volcanic Island. This is actually one I pulled somewhat recently. Not somewhat recently, probably in the last 10 years, but I opened a bunch of revised boxes and I pulled this, so I included that version in the set. I have full play sets of all this stuff in decks, but this is just the one that I actually display. Wrath of God, Will of the Wisp, White Knight, Wheel of Fortune, incredible. And then I put all the lands in here. This is actually not a blank card for because I'm missing anything. It's just because I wanted to have a spacer, so I didn't start the lands here, and then that made it so that I could show what the card back looked like, and then make a perfect page that ended out on 9. So that's why that's there. So yeah, so that's the revised set, and I thought this would be kind of fun. So these are some old revised boxes. This is what the boxes looked like, and these are actually in pretty good shape because they're not that old. One of them still actually has the they are that old, but I opened them within the last 10 years. And I did it on my channel. It was my first video on the channel. And there's actually some pack fresh revised cards in here and an original rule book from Revised, which is pretty cool. So yeah, this still has the fresh Cardamundi printer smell that is for people who actually bought these things back in the day. Very, very nostalgic. And then this is what the 4th edition box looked like. I don't know if I have the rule book in here. Yeah, I do. Cool. So this is what the rule book looked like for 4th edition. This is how we learned, because we're old. And yeah, and I have a full set of 4th edition, but you know what? I'm not going to go through, just given we're already at 10 minutes, I'm not going to go through this whole full 4th edition set. But this is basically the same concept. They pulled even more things that were awesome out of Revised. They made the print a little bit darker because the Revised was a little bit lighter. And they added some Legends cards in addition to the Arabian Nights. This must have this must have all the 4 Horsemen kind of mixed in. But yeah, you can see like the Mana Vault is dramatically darker in this. So yeah, I have one more binder that I wanted to try to squeeze into this video. And I apologize, it's going over 10 minutes, but this is kind of my random overflow binder of just kind of cool cards that I've always had since I was a kid. I got a playset of Sinkholes from Unlimited. We got Two-Headed Giant, which was one of the only cards, it's actually the only card I could think of, where this one card could block multiple creatures, which is pretty sick. So it's like Reverse Menace. Unlimited Force in Nature, Unlimited Psionic Blast. This is the only blue direct damage for a very long time. I'm not sure what's out there nowadays. We got a playset of Veziman Doppelgangers, another card that I just have insane numbers of copies of, but these are like kind of some of these are actually, like this one's Unlimited, and these 3 are Revised, but I also have them in beta. Some Forks, a Shivan Dragon, Bad Moon. These are all like my original copies from when I was a kid. That's probably why they're separated out. They would have been the actual copies that like survived all the times that I sold my collection. I kept these cards because they weren't really worth a lot, so I kept them for the nostalgia. Some Royal Assassins, some Hippies, and then we get into some kind of Legends, random cards. There's a nice Beta Fireball there, which is pretty cool. Some Brain Geysers, Twiddle. This is your Unlimited Twiddles. This card was highly underrated back in the day. And then some random antiquity stuff. Ashnod's Altar is pretty cool. All the Mishra's Factories. The Winter Factory got pretty expensive for a while there. I think it was like almost $1,000. All the Strip Mines, which I didn't talk about in Antiquities, but those are huge cards from Antiquities that also made it into 4th edition. Some really cool stuff in this binder. And then the end of the binder starts getting into like Ice Age, and this some more Maze of Iths. Another Ball Lightning. Jester's Cap. This card was epic. You could go into their deck, to someone's deck, and pull out all the cards that... it was like 3 of a card that had the same name, so you could basically like pull someone's like win condition out if you wanted to. The Elder Dragons, this is the Chronicles versions, but we looked at the original Legends and the Legends set yesterday. All this is Chronicles for the most part. Well, no, sorry, these 2 are Chronicles. And then this is original Legends. And then we get into some more modern cards. Humility, well, I shouldn't say modern cards. This is Tempest, this is Visions. Anvil of Bogarden, I think, was one that comboed with Chains of Mephistopheles, which I showed in the last video. Got a couple copies of. Tithe is incredible. Prosperity, amazing. Mana Web is brutal. I don't know if you've ever seen this card, but whenever any land target opponent controls is tapped for mana, tap all lands he or she controls that can produce any type of mana that land can produce. This is devastating if you can't get rid of it. And then Lotus Veil, too. This one's amazing. So you can... you have to sacrifice 2 untapped lands when it comes into play, but it adds 3 mana of any one color. And with like all the Crucible of Worlds effects and stuff like that, like that's not that bad of a limitation when you can play lands from your graveyard nowadays. Lotus Petal, Reanimate, some Sapphire Medallions, Snaring Bridge back when that was a big deal. That's the original printing of it from Stronghold. No Mercy, Grave Pact, playset of Metal Workers. This card I think is still pretty sought after. Playset of the original Cavern of Souls, and some cards from Urza's Saga and Urza's Destiny here. So yeah, so that's kind of like my random binder that I just have from cards that I really love. Anyway, this video went a little over. Hope you enjoyed it, and what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to do one vintage video. Actually, I might be done with the vintage videos for a little while. We'll get back to Final Fantasy in the next videos, and I do have some more collector boxes on the way, so we'll take a look at those in some of the upcoming videos. So hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one.